Every time I go to start something, I say, "Oh, you know what? I need to record this." So here we are. I'm gonna put these wires in, and it's important to understand that there's some mechanics as well as electronics going on here, as you can see when the truck moves back and forth this way. It's easy to see here with the red wire what's going to happen. Now I'm going to tie that red wire to this lug right here. Now you're going to have a cab that's going to push down on the top of it like this, right? But you want to make sure that it's not too short, because if you're too short like this, it's going to bind, all right? So, and you want to make sure it's not too long, right? That might not be too long. If I go all the way out and do this though, now I got a bunch of wire that's hanging in there, and it's going to go it's got to go somewhere. And what you don't want it to do is you don't want it to go into the running gear, which is right down below the speaker here. So because it's right below the speaker and because of all that, we're going to trim this to be almost a perfect match here. I want it to be, again, remember, I want it to be up, straight, torsion back and forth this way. So I want it to come straight out of that, right? And then I want it to stay that way. I don't want to be too short this way or too long that way. I want to be straight up. So I'm going to do it like this, come up here, and I'm going to cut it. I don't want too much of this laying out, right? I'm going to cut it. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to cut it right there. Okay. So I'm going to cut it right there. Okay. And I'm going to cut the end off of this. Right. I'm going to use a stripper. Right. And I'm going to cut just the bare end off it, like that, because when I put solder on this, the plastic is going to wick back. It's going to move back as I put heat to it. We're going to pre-tin it. We're going to pre-tin that, and we're going to solder this. So again, just trying to give you some idea of you got to use a little bit of logic while you're doing this. You can't just go electrically. A goes to A, B goes to B. It doesn't work that way. You need to use a little bit more common sense to making this all work out. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back, he says. Okay then, everything is literally soldered. You can see that we pulled the motor mounts up along the side, like I said, or the motor wires. We've got good connection here. Good connection here, right? Want to make sure that everything is not in the running gear. So from the top, looking down, right, you see the black wire is not in the running gear. The orange wire here, right, came up, was under the weight. I had to move it this way, right, in to make sure it didn't get pinched by the weight, because now the pinching that would make it, the frame is hot, so the weight is hot. To the left side. And the other wire that was kind of interesting here is the black wire. Notice how I've got it curved out. It's because it was connecting in and touching the running gear, which is real close in here. So again, I pulled it out. And all right, so we were talking about the wiring here and how it's all hooked up. And again, I took the liberty of going through these two holes. I assume those holes were for something else. I'm not quite sure what for, but they're nice pass-throughs. Could be mounting holes. Notice there's two on this side too. We're not going to use it to mount because we've got this. It's mounted pretty securely with this double-sided sticky tape. So I'm hoping everything works well, but hope doesn't get it. We got to get it on the track. So I'm going to put it on the test track here in just a second, and let's see how it goes. So I'm looking around thinking, you know what, I need a stand. I need another stand for doing tests and things like that. The system is up and running, so let's take a look at the throttle. We're going to go to program. We're looking for PG at the top right here. Add to, we're going to hit display, DISP, and it comes back and it says 3. That's a good sign, because what that says is it went to the decoder, it said, hey, what's your number? And this decoder came back and said, I'm 3. So that's the default. We can run it on 3, and so we're going to do that. So I'm going to exit out of programming mode, right? The T off there says that the track is off, so we're going to do power, right? And plus, right? Notice that we have a solid dot in the upper right hand corner, right over the off. Again, we're going to hit exit. The system is up and running. We're going to select the left hand throttle or right hand throttle. I like the right hand throttle, so we're going to select it by just turning it. We're going to hit the loco, right? We're going to push 3. I'm doing all this with my thumb. I hope you can see that, because I'm holding the camera with the rest of it. And we're going to hit, you can hit loco again, right? And there we should be up and running. However, right, we don't have the track on. Track power is not on to the programming track. So I've rigged up a little button here. When I push it up, right, that turns track power on. So track power is on, and oh look, we have a blue light. That's good news. And I don't know if you can hear it, but we have sound. Yes. So we're going to try the bell, since we don't have any lights hooked up. Yes, bell works. Whoa, we got some good sound out of that little tiny speaker, right? All right, now we're going to see if the motor's hooked up correctly. Oh, it's going in the forward direction, which it should. Right, I'm going backwards. Okay, now again, looking up at the throttle, you see the little arrow. There's the arrow, says forward underneath the engine, and there's forward. You can see the mark there. Reverse and reverse. We're good to go. We got everything is hunky-dory. All right, one beep says stop. All right, time to put the lights on. Okay, so as we look down inside of the shell, we're looking for where the lights would go and if there would be any interference. The way they've got the light pipes, that's the plastic, the clear plastic pieces, the light pipe ends right here, and it ends over here right there. Now, if I kind of translate this up, just roughly translate it up, that means that this is going to end about right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure. I'm going to use my micrometer, my digital micrometer, and I'm going to actually measure where that is. You can kind of see an indent here underneath whatever's done here with the black. Also up in the top here, if I go from here, this edge, so this edge goes to that edge, this edge goes to here, right? And this is proud of that edge about that much. So I got to about right there, and again, I'm going to measure that with the micrometer. The little LEDs that we're going to use, right, they're going to sit right in here, right? So I'm going to sit one right there as close to that as I can. Whoop, lost focus. Sit one right here as close as I can, right? And then back here again, the same thing going here. Now, I don't know if I'm going to need any resistors. Hopefully I don't. But if I do, then I'm going to kick one of the legs out, right? And I may even kick it up a little bit like this and put a resistor. But we're real close here. I mean, it's going to be right at the end of the board. This is a 5mm, right? There's also 3mm, so I may go to the 3mm just so I can get that extra little resistor in there and get that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that, and I'm going to mark it on the board so I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't want to be short, because when we try to put the hood on, if I put the hood on and the LEDs are in the way, we're not going to be able to get it down where we need it. Okay, be right back. So here we are after I've installed the lights. You can see them here and here. There wasn't quite enough room. It actually would have been about right here to put a resistor on this side. So what I did was I cut, you can see the light pipe, I cut it off. I cut off about the width of that screwdriver off, so that they gave me just enough extra room to go ahead and put the resistor in there. It was on page 20 of the technical ref for the installation guide, by the way, for soundtracks. And anyway, so should fit on there. And but before we do that, we're going to test the lights out to make sure that they work. So hold. All right, so here we go, and as you can see, one of the lights is on for one end, and we're going to reverse it so you can see the light come on the other end. There you go. Bright white LEDs, and this will look good. Now to put the top on, test it out. Be right back. Alrighty, a very, very tight fit, and oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay, on one end, and we'll go forward a little bit. Let's reverse. Let's see what the lights look like there. Let's see if I can find the button. There you go. Okay, we got a lot of cab light here. Some people like that. Some people don't. We could mask that off if we were asked to. But it's coming out the front headlight just perfectly, so we're going to leave it at that. We'll talk to the customer and then see if they want to eliminate the brightness of that light. I don't know if I want to work on that now or not. Maybe I will. The way I'm going to fix that is by putting a light pipe. I'll use some shrink tube. Put some shrink tube over it and see if I can't make it so it just comes out the top. All right, I'll be right back. All right, just to give you an idea of what I'm attempting to do here, here's the shrink tube that I've added to it. And I cut it off right where I know the top is going to be. And I kind of aimed it up a little bit. Hopefully it will go into that light pipe a little bit better. I may have to kind of angle and pull it in as I put the top on. We'll see. Be right back. Well, not as bright. Still an issue with it coming through the window, but we're going to leave it at that. And I'm not quite sure how else to handle that unless I black out the windows, which I don't want to do. Alrighty, this is kind of the end of this video. I'm going to go ahead and add couplers on it. I'm going to run around the layout. It's already been lubricated. I'm ready to go, and pretty happy with this. So we're going to change the sounds to match a GP18. If this is the wrong sound, then I apologize. Just didn't test that out. I'm also going to get the horn and get the right horn. Typically you can tell what horn it is by what horn that they put on it. This is a 3 chime. That should be a clue. We're going to look up Aberdeen and Rockfish and see what actual horns they used and put the appropriate horn on it. Thanks for watching and subscribe. Thanks. Alrighty then, so I thought we were done with this, but we're not. So one of the things that everything is operational, but when you go to put the top on, it doesn't quite go all the way down. And what I mean by that is we're just, a smidgen off. We're about, I don't know, that's a 16th maybe. In terms of thousands, that's probably 80 thousandths off. Like, what the heck? What's going on? So I turned it over, and these are applied. You can see this. That these are applied screens, and when you turn it over and you look, so we have to that's got a pin in there that needs to be fixed. This one too. When you turn it over and look, there's these boxes on the inside. See them? Now that's not normal. That's not how they come from factory. So somebody has detailed this or made it better, quote unquote, right, by adding these boxes and these screens. Now, albeit they are better if they were coming apart here, but and like I said, we're going to fix that here in a second. The issue with it is that now it has changed the profile, the mechanical profile on the inside of this. And so if I take this ruler, right, or this micrometer, and I look at the depth here, and I'm just guessing now because this is what you do here, depth, and looking at what we're talking about for depth. And I'm going to the edge of this, right, like that. And I'm going to lock that in, right? Now I'm going to take this from the edge, and typically that would be, since we didn't account for the lip here, right? We're down to that edge. That's the top of this piece of metal here, right? And when we look at it, we're right smack dab on that wire, okay? So when I was pushing down on it, it was kind of squishy, and I'm going like, oh crap. So that wire, right, and the other wire on the other side, not the diode, because the LED is in the middle of this. So you see you got like a way here. So the question is, how far in do I have to push this? Well, now you can do this, right? You can do this, and you can go down here at the bottom, and you can look and say, well, it's about, using whatever measuring tools you can, it's about that much, right? It's about that much, okay? So now we can put this up here, and we can go, okay, so I've got to come in about that much. All right, so you see what I've done here. See, I've pushed these wires to the side. Now, that may not be enough. I may have to resolder these wires so that I get as much deflection on this as I can. So you see what I'm doing here. I'm just pushing that towards the inside. Same way here, right? Pushing that towards the inside. Now you're saying, well, do I just need to do it there? Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Now the other question is, how far in? So we're measuring here from here to here, right? So I'm looking at that piece down at the bottom there, and I'm measuring that, and I'm going, yeah, it's about that, right? And then I'm measuring that from here to here, and I'm going like, holy crap, right? It's all the way down to there. Let's measure that again, right? Well, I can measure it from outside here, right? Look, see? Okay. Measured that inside. Okay. Now, the only thing that's saving me here for the diodes, so these are the diodes for the bridge, that it makes a bridge there for the electricity, change it from quasi AC to DC. But in any case, the diodes here are proud of that surface by at least that much, and that piece goes all the way to there. So am I going to be able to make it work? I don't know. It seems to work, but it seems to be squishy too. The other thing that's happening is, and the reason why this is coming off, is because when I was pushing down on it, it was pushing out on these pieces, and of course making them dislodge from their connection. Now you may say, well, how about the other side? Yeah, there's two more over here, right? But if you look at where those are in relationship to the frame and to everything else that's done there, it's right here. Okay, it's right in this area here. And again, if you look at what's proud of the cab here, so we said that was 0.9 something. So let's go 0.9, right? When we look at this, right, we're right at it. When we look at this, we're right at it. So this side is not creating a problem for us here, okay? But this side is, right? So let's, and that's what I'm seeing too. I'm seeing that it's only that one side that's creating a problem. So now I've glued this together here. I'm going to have to glue this other side. I'm going to try to put this on the top. I've let it wait 24 hours. I got some other issues over here I need to glue up and fix. Okay. So let's see what we can do here. And again, we are trying our best to make this work. All right. So I'm pushing down on this, and you can see the difference here, right? Ordinarily, this would fit right flush up against that. So we're off. Now I can push on it. I can push hard on it, right? And all I'm doing really is I'm not sure if I'm crushing the plastic or if I'm crushing the wires. Now, because the wires extend down through here, and we've got movement, so we're not interrupting or interfering with the wires. And the other thing is the coupler box. And if you look at the coupler box, and some of these, you know, they've got a shelf there. This has got a shelf on it, but the shelf is connected to the frame. So what does that mean? Well, that means that no matter where the shell rides on the frame, right, the couplers are going to be right. So if I was not making a video of this, right, I could put this together like this with that groove in there, right, and the customer would not know. Unless they come back and say, hey, what's going on with this? This one's lower than this and whatnot. Now, the other way to do that is make this higher, right, on this side. Force the two to be the same height. There is no capture here. There's no screws going down through there, right? So we'll have to look at the capture. The capture is actually pins that go through these holes here and here, right? And here and here. And of course those pins are not going to go through that hole. They're not going to go through that hole in capture. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Oh, well, never mind, okay, because the pins are broken off. 1, 2, 3, they're broken off there. These two are intact. That one's intact. Well, all right. So we do what we can do. In this particular case, it's not going to matter, right? Because we got pins here and here and here, right? Here, here, and here. And of those, we only got these 2 pins, right? And a pin in the back, and that's it, holding this on. So this is what happens when you have custom work. I'm not downplaying custom work. I'm just saying that, you know, when you start modifying the engine and the body and all that, and you didn't take into account the custom work, now you kind of, as they say, hoist by your own petard. If you don't know what that means, look it up. But suffice it to say, we're going to have to play some games here in order to make this work. And one of the games we might play, since it's not visible from out here, is we might take off some of this custom work on the inside. I might go back here with the Dremel. I hate using Dremels, but it's hard to get a hand tool down in there. I might go in with the Dremel, and I might Dremel out a piece of this, right, and a piece over here, just so this fits down like it's supposed to. All right, well, let me work on that. Suffice it to say, I may not do any more on this. Again, I said I was done, but I'm not done. And I got some pieces to put back on and whatnot. So we're going to work on that, and maybe I'll have another one, maybe I won't. But you see what I'm up against, and I think I've covered what's going to happen. All right. Thank you for watching.